Create an application with a workflow template. With Nextworld's No-Code Studio, you can easily create a workflow-enabled application, ensuring that records in the application proceed through a predefined series of states. Select a workflow template when building your application to have the No-Code Studio automatically configure the objects required to support workflow. For this demonstration, we'll create an application to manage short-term contracts that includes a simple workflow that tracks record status, followed by a demonstration on how to modify workflow to include an additional workflow step. From the Welcome to the No-Code Studio page, select Create New Application under the Application Quick Start. Next, select New Data Source. Select the application type. We'll choose Standard List Detail. Type in a name and description for the application under Details. The table name will automatically populate in this field. Because we are simultaneously creating a new data source here, we can specify a workflow from existing templates. We'll select New to Active to Inactive. Please note that the workflow template option is only available when creating a new application. Workflow definitions, however, can be manually added to existing applications by using the Workflow Builder. This process is not covered in this video. Next, select Continue to create the application. This brings us to the Application Builder, where we will create and add fields to our new application. Note, this video focuses on how to incorporate a workflow when building a new application. It does not explain how to use the Application Builder to build an application. Please refer to Build a New Application and Data Source to learn more about this process. Select Save and Stay once fields are defined and set. Objects that support the application, including the table and data items, are created along with the application. Now generate the application. Before launching, let's look at how the workflow is configured in the application. Filter to the newly created application in the Explorer panel. Then open the workflow from the Workflow Builder list. Here we can see the three states of the workflow: new, active, and inactive. The system is set up to direct how the steps advance through the workflow, moving from a from state to a to state. In addition, note the action label column. Action labels come preset in template workflows. Action labels define text prompts that transition records from one status to another. For instance, when moving a record from inactive to active, the label on the Form Action dropdown displays Activate. Now, going back to the Application Builder, we'll launch the application and create a record to view the workflow. From the list view, select Create to add a new record. Populate the fields on the detail form with data, and then save. Once a record is saved, the initial workflow step of New is listed. Workflow steps are listed in the Form Action buttons located in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. To move the record to the next step, use the drop-down to select the next action. Save, and note that the workflow advanced from new to active. Once the status is active, the record can also be advanced to inactive. Nextworld No-Code Studio provides the ability to modify template workflows, such as adding additional workflow steps. We'll add a new workflow step, on hold, to the application we just created. To add another workflow step, we will create a value for the new on hold state in the list lookup that determines the status options for this workflow. In the workflow definition, configure the transitions that lead to and from the on-hold state, and regenerate the application so the changes take effect. From the Workflow Builder, select View State Lookup. The workflow steps of new, active and inactive are listed. Select Add. Enter a value. Do not include spaces. Enter the description to display in the application. You may select a lookup icon along with the desired color. Then save and exit. Now back to the workflow builder. The new step of On Hold needs to move in 3 ways. As a result, we'll create 3 transitions. Move a record from active to on hold status. Move a record back to active from being in on hold status. And move an on hold record to inactive status. First, we'll enter a transition that moves a record from active to on hold status. Select Add Transition. Enter a number in the sequence column. Select Manual Transition for transition trigger. Select Active for From State. Nextworld uses default state types: Initial, Active, Inactive, Closed, or Pending. Select Active for state type. Now, under the To state, we can select our new workflow step, On Hold. Select Active for state type and then save. In addition to setting transitions, consider action labels. If not defined, the system assigns default labels that read, Transition to the next assigned state. For instance, if moving the record from active to on hold, the label Transition to on hold would be displayed. Let's take steps to specify unique action labels for our new status. We'll create a label, Place on Hold, to display anytime a record transitions to on hold. Navigate to the application Data Item Definitions and select Create. Name the data item On Hold Action Label. Do not include spaces. Select Data Item Type, Label. Then add description and note product family. Select Synonyms. Select Add. The synonym label is what represents the action. We'll use Place on Hold as the label. Save and exit. Now go back to the Workflow Builder definition. On any transition that goes to on hold, configure the action label to the on hold action label data item we just created. Now repeat the process of adding transitions and action labels for the other 2 workflow steps. Going from on hold back to active, and lastly, going from on hold to inactive. Note, we can use existing action labels for these transitions. The workflow already has an action label that transitions records to active, as well as a label that transitions records to inactive. Then save and exit. Now generate and launch the application from the Application Builder application. The new workflow step of on hold is now part of the workflow. Records can be moved from active to on hold. Records then can transition out of on hold back to active. Records in the on hold status can also be moved to inactive. Note, if the table or workflow is secured, workflow security might need to be updated for the new states in order to grant read, update, and delete security. Use Nextworld help to learn more about this topic by searching for No-Code Studio.